Hello and welcome to VR Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing the Vulcanlog Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Magician. So yes, here we have the recently released Dark Magician from the new Vulcanlog Yu-Gi-Oh! Line. It's one of their first two figures, the other one being Yugi. If you're not familiar with Vulcanlog, they're basically Revoltech figures. I don't know how their companies are intertwined, but they use the same joint style, so they must at least be related in some way. Either way, this is the new Dark Magician design from Dark Side of Dimension, and it is overall a pretty cool figure and definitely something worth picking up if you're a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now let's go ahead and zoom in for the articulation, sculpt paint details, all those sorts of things.
Alright, starting off with a quick size comparison. Of course, here we have the Dark Magician. Here's our standard Marvel Legends 6-inch Cosmic Armor Iron Man and 3 3/4-inch Marvel Universe Wolverine, as well as the recently released Figma Yami Yugi. Dark Magician is surprisingly a bit bigger than your average Japanese 6-inch scale figure, so he's closer to being American 6-inch scale, which is a bit weird. He's noticeably taller than Yami, which I think is fine, because you could argue that he's potentially a hologram. He might not be sometimes, but he could be. So him being taller than Yugi is fine, along with the fact that Yugi's just short anyway. But you could easily put him in with Marvel Legends if you wanted to do that for some reason. And of course, he's much bigger than a 3 3/4-inch figure. Let's get everything else out of here and just look at the Dark Magician. Moving on to our 360 spin, this is the most recent design for the Dark Magician, so it is a bit different than what you might be used to seeing. It's still cool, but I do prefer the original design. The base of his costume is sort of a charcoaly gray, and then his plating, like his bracers and his helmet and his shoulder pads, are sort of a glossy dark blue. He has silver edging work all over the place, which is kind of jagged, and it's got the swirly things on the kneecaps and stuff. It's got little blades coming out of the forearms. It's got lots of nice detail to it, and it is a pretty cool design. I just, like I said, prefer the original a bit more. Now let's go ahead and zoom in on his head sculpts. Head sculpt-wise, Dark Magician, of course, has his big pointy hat, which has little silvery rings around it. He's got some falling down, very light kind of purplish gray hair. And then he has 3 different faces, which are all basically the same. It's just the direction the eyes are facing. He has left-facing, forward-facing, and right-facing eyes. His skin tone is sort of a bluish kind of color, and he's got little sort of tear lines and a little blue line thing underneath his mouth. Overall, the sculpting is fine, and the interchangeable faces, while not particularly interesting, are certainly useful for posing purposes. Now let's go ahead and zoom out and look at some articulation. Articulation-wise, Dark Magician's basically a Revoltech figure, so all of his joints are going to be revolver joints. If you don't know what those are, they're basically ball pegs that are sort of ratchety, and they plug into both ends of the figure, so they rotate on both ends. They're actually one of the best articulation joints, in my opinion. He's got a couple of those in the neck, so his neck and head sort of move all the way forward, all the way back, tilt to the side, all the kind of stuff you need there. He also has them in the shoulder pads, and then he has double revolver joints in the shoulders, so those can go really far up and out and forward and everything you need. Single revolver joints in the elbows and in the wrists. He's got one big revolver joint in the torso area. Then he has big revolver joints in the hips that go in and out, forward and back. He's got a rotation there also. His knees go forward and back, in and out on revolver joints. His ankles do the same and pivot a little bit as well. And then he has little tiny revolver joints, 2 on the front skirt and 1 big one on the back skirt. So you should be able to get him into pretty much any kind of pose you want to. I've always said that Revoltech figures tend to be the most posable, even if their joints can look a bit off sometimes, so you should be able to do basically anything you want. Now let's go ahead and look at some accessories. Accessories-wise, Dark Magician comes with a couple of interchangeable hands. He has 2 fist hands, 2 sort of open hands for perhaps the Dark Magic attack or something like that, and 2 staff-holding hands, the finger sort of extended to grip the staff a bit intricately, I guess. And then, of course, he does have his staff, which is a dark purple. It's a bit metallic. It's got little silvery rings around it, and then 1 big green orb in the head of it. Looks pretty cool. It's basically the same design that the Dark Magician staff usually is, except it's tweaked a bit. So that's all very cool. You can use those to pose him in additional ways. Also, the Dark Magician comes with a standard sort of three-jointed kind of stand. It comes with a waist clip, so you can either use that, or you can plug it into one of the two little holes that are on the back of his skirt, although that does require a little bit of balancing to make sure he doesn't tip over. But either way, it is quite useful for display purposes. Now that wraps it up for Dark Magician and all of his accessories, so let's move on to the packaging. Packaging-wise, Dark Magician comes in a nice big windowed box. Yu-Gi-Oh! Revo powered by Revoltech Union Creative. You got your big window there, picture of Dark Magician over there on the side. I assume that the little Japanese text there is his name, since it's not anywhere else on the box. 20th anniversary Yu-Gi-Oh! Logos, all those sorts of things. And on the back you get some poses for the figures and some Japanese stuff that I can't read, as well as a picture of Yugi who is available and a little advertisement down there for Seto Kaiba and the Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. I might get Kaiba, but I'm not terribly interested in the weird version of the Blue Eyes or another Yugi. As is usually the case with windowed boxes, this is good for in or out of package display. So yeah, Dark Magician.
Alright, that wraps it up for Dark Magician. So until next time, goodbye.
Hello, you've just watched one of my videos. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos. If you didn't, run away and never return. Also, feel free to check out my other channels, Venom Raptor for all my variety gaming content, and VR Reviews for reviews of various action figures and collectibles. Thank you, and goodbye.